How are you lovely people doing today? My name is John, and welcome to a beautiful episode of the Zombie Storyline Q&A. This is the only series on YouTube where I take your questions about the zombie storyline and I answer them. Whether it's a big, a small, or a simple question, you can either leave them down below or you can tweet me at JohnnyJ25. And maybe while you're there, drop me a follow. That is always much appreciated. Without further ado though, let's begin. So for today's episode, we have a question from Caleb Woods who asks, why is there a giant robot head in the Giant? I should first point out the name of the map is of course the Giant, and I think this is a big sort of note that Treyarch planned all of this. When they first created the giant robots in Origins and introduced them to us, they probably knew that the next place they were going to take this storyline was Deriz. They wanted to revisit it, this time with giant robots, and that's why this map is of course called the Giant, because that's a key bit of it. They want to distinct it from the original Deriz, and of course when you play this map you're going to notice the giant robot head hanging off in the background, and that wasn't there in the original Deriz. I should note though that when they were planning the original Deriz, I doubt they knew 3 games later they were going to remake the map, this time with a giant robot head. At the time they weren't thinking that far ahead, they were thinking the next map, they weren't thinking the next game. So don't think that when they were making the original Deriz, they planned this all along. They didn't. Treyarch wasn't that good. Now, why is, in terms of a story perspective, the giant robot in Origins, the Giant? Well, they probably made the giant robots here. This place is known as the factory, and we can see it on the writing on the wall, so this is probably where they were first made. Now, I want to point out that we're jumping through many different universes. This universe is different from the Origins universe, and it's different from the original Deriz universe. This universe is kind of like a best of both worlds, if you can call it that. It features some imagery from the World War I era Origins universe, and then it also features a bit of stuff from the original Deriz. You'll see a lot of iron crosses and of course the giant robot, which point to this being from the original Origins universe, but then we also have a Nazi Richtofen sending off Dr. Maxis in the teleporter, which makes us think that this is from the original universe. So I'm going to say that this is probably its own universe that kind of combines the two, and I assume it is set in World War II, although I can't say that for certain. Here's what I think though. If we look at the Origins universe, what probably happened is that they started at the Giant. This is where the robots were first built. Dr. Maxis and Richtofen in this universe are good friends. They then moved to northern France because they discovered that there are large deposits of divinium. They bring the giant robots with them, and this is where Origins unfolds. Our characters then Maxis ends up getting killed, and Richtofen begins his journey of universe hopping. So that's what happens in the Origins universe, but things go differently in this universe. Dr. Maxis and Richtofen are actually enemies. They work together, but Richtofen is planning to kill Dr. Maxis, and he kills him in the same fashion that he does in the original Deriz map. He sends him in the teleporter away with Samantha. In this universe, the giant facility ends up being destroyed and the giant robots are never completed. That's why we see the head dangling in the background of the map, and I guess it was only semi-functional because it was able to shoot lasers out of its eyes. And I should note that this is a big distinction between the original giant robots and the giant robots. These robots are able to shoot lasers out of their eyes, but on the map Origins, we never saw them do such a thing. All they did was just sort of stomp around the map, and maybe that's another sort of difference between these two universes. In this universe, the giant robots were a bit more powerful. That's sort of the theory though floating around in my head, is that we have two different the Giants, and in this universe they unfortunately never make it to Origins because Richtofen goes insane and kills Dr. Maxis. That is just one theory, but another theory could be that they just never ended up completing the robots, or maybe that the robot was at some point destroyed, they bring it back and they were reconstructing it, and that's why part of the body is sort of limp on the ground but the head is in the air. Maybe they're doing work on the head or they're about to reattach the head. We can't say for certain because we don't know all the details of the storyline yet, but maybe as we progress through the game we'll begin to learn more stuff. At the moment though, these are our best guesses. That's going to wrap things up though for this episode of the Zombie Storyline Q&A. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like and maybe subscribe for more. I upload multiple every week, and if you enjoyed this one, I'm sure you'll love the next one. If you want, you can also follow me at JohnnyJ25. It's one of the best ways to get in touch with me, and I always appreciate a follow on Twitter. Anyway, have a great day, and bye.